I don't know why I'm doing this one. All right. This one's a slow burner. The bomb. Oh, wait. My bad.
All right, hi, I'm David Voorhees. I'm the host of Running Hot. Today with me, our guest is Chris Teahan. You probably recognize him from the University of Kansas, Rock Chalk. He was a curler there. No, I'm kidding. He played basketball. But we're excited to have him join us. So, Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm excited, nervous, all the above.
Good. You should be. All of the
Yeah,
above.
I figured.
So the premise is we've got 6 sauces. I tell everyone that 5 are for me, the 6th one's for the audience, and we will give $1,000 to the charity of your choice if you make it through sauce 6. Have you thought about who you wanted to support?
Yeah, I do. I have an idea.
Okay, you want to tell the audience?
Yep, so it's Grow the Game. Grow the Game, it's a 403B put on by a couple managers that worked at the University of Kansas when I was there. And there's a manager that's currently there. He's from Kenya. He was super excited, first in his family, to come to college in America, and ended up being a student manager on the basketball team. So first international student manager on the Kansas basketball team. And he ended up having some unforeseen financial issues back in Kenya, and they weren't allowed to or they weren't able to pay for his college this past year, so he had to drop out of school and then also relinquish his duties as a student manager. And so they put together a little fund to raise $35,000 to, get him back in classes for the spring semester and into his senior year so he can still continue to do that. And, I have so much respect for the student managers there. It's not something that you get a lot of credit to do, but you go out there, you sacrifice for yourself just to be part of something bigger than you, and, I can respect that a ton. So I think that's a good place for this $1,000 to go after I finish that 6th wing.
Awesome. So Wingstop wings, I'm happy to do the wings. You can take the drummies. They're typically a little easier to work with.
Yep.
So let's get sauce number 1. I found out last show, our new studio, this desk is a little bit deeper than the one we had before. Mm-hmm. So I tried to stand up to get it, and it stopped me. So I'm going to have you get sauce number 1.
I got sauce number 1 for you.
Okay, thank you. So we got Bravado Spice Company, creamy herb and jalapeno. It's considered mild. So we put just a little bit on the plate. There you go.
All right.
Let you close that up and put it back.
This one should taste good.
They all taste good.
I'm sure they all taste great.
Well, you might disagree on sauce 5 and 6. But
well, I'm sure, yeah. Those ones, the first ones, garlic, herb, jalapeno can't be too bad.
Pretty good.
All right.
It's like I'm always surprised that they're good. And I get to do this all the time.
Knowing that you film more than, probably 1 or 2 of these a month, you're a trooper for that. I'll give you some props there.
I appreciate that.
This will be a one and done for me.
We never know. We might have like an alumni session and bring you back.
We'll see how that 6th one goes.
You're the second Kansas Jayhawk to be on the show, so maybe we do like a Kansas Jayhawk special. I forbid any Mizzou Tigers on the show.
That's a prerequisite.
See, since I'm out of HR, I no longer have to worry about those types of things. I can do whatever I want now. So, as I mentioned to the audience, former University of Kansas basketball player, grew up in Kansas City. When you think back about your time playing basketball, whether it be early on, grade school, middle school, high school, or in college, what are the things that you think were high-level lessons that you learned that have helped you now that you've moved into your professional career?
There's I would say, obviously everyone puts in the work. You have to be at practice, you have to be at games, and that's only about 10% of what it takes to be, a better person, a better basketball player, some other things on that end. And so, that's something that I've taken over to my professional career, is doing what's right off the course, off the court. When you're playing basketball, it's all about, hey, are you eating right? Are you recovering right? Are you sleeping the right way? Are you, making smart decisions and not put yourself in any kind of trouble? So, that's something I've carried on a lot when I go into my professional careers. Hey, am I learning enough when I go home? Am I doing the right things that I'm energized for the next day? Am I holding myself correctly when I go to large events or anything on that end? So, that's one of my major things. And also just perseverance. basketball is a game of runs. There's going to be times you're down 20. There's going to be times you're up 20. How do you react when you're in that situation? Coach Self always had a great saying. It's like, everyone thinks their life is canyons and mountains. But in reality, that's not what you want. You never want to be too low, and you never want to be too high. If you're too low, you give up on yourself. If you're too high, you think you reached the peak. But in reality, you want to live in those hills and valleys. You can get a little bit high, you can get excited, you can get a little down on yourself, but make sure you're ready to be steady when it matters the most.
That's awesome. So 2 things. One, what you just said made me so happy for a reason that you have no idea, but I'm going to tell everybody, and I'm going to tell you. So Dennis Gardner, our head of sales, unfortunately is a Mizzou Tiger. Tells me all sorts of nasty things about KU, which I have plenty of kind things to tell him in kind. But one of the things he talks about in his philosophy of sales is you can't get too high and you can't get too low. Mm-hmm. It is basically trying to stay about as even as you can. Doesn't mean you can't be excited. Doesn't mean you can't be disappointed. But if you're not riding these peaks and valleys, things will naturally be greater. Yep. So now what I get to do is I get to tell him that he has something in common with the greatest basketball coach in Bill Self. It's going to be so wonderful. It's probably going to make him sick.
Yep.
If we're lucky, Morgan, let's film that when I tell him that, and we'll put it on another show because that'll be great. So thank you. That was wonderful. But you talked about something else, which I'm going to make another joke, is you got court and course confused. And so I'm wondering, you're now a financial advisor, correct? So have you transitioned to the golf course from the basketball court? Is that part of the... Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. I spend very little time on a basketball court unless, I'm teaching my nephews, working them out, or if I just pick up a ball and go shoot randomly. I spend a ton of time on the golf course.
Good for you.
Yeah, and that's it's a lot less physically demanding. I'm awful at it. I wouldn't say awful, but I'm an average golfer. And,
yes.
Coming from something where you're way above average doing, and then going to be average at something where, you're in a foursome and you're probably getting beat by 3 of the other guys, a little bit of an ego hit, but as I said, never get too high, never get too low.
Yeah, but they also didn't play basketball at KU, so there's that too.
They can get me on the golf course for sure.
Golf has come back. I think COVID had a big thing to do with that, but a lot of people don't understand when you're playing golf, especially when you're doing it for work. There's a lot that goes into it for work. Yes, you're out getting to play golf and having a good time, but you're working on building relationships. A lot of times people ask you your opinion or your thoughts on something, and so it's not all out there playing golf. There is business going on.
Yeah, tell my boss that sometimes, but
I did.
Yeah, you did. 4 hours on a golf course with somebody, you can tell a lot about them. Whether they're having a great game, whether they're having a bad game, or whether you're just in the cart riding together. That's something that you can really tell the true character of someone if you want to work with them, if they want to work with you. So I think that, usually one of my final meetings is bringing someone out on the golf course and seeing, hey, do we work personality-wise? Because there's nothing worse than, playing bad and someone being a hothead about it and being, freaking out, being in a bad mood and ruin it for everybody else. Can you be fun while you're still, not hitting them well?
Yeah, it's a good thing we know each other now. So before my car accident, I was a 2-handicap golfer, which is fun because you're good.
Yeah.
But I was a giant jerk. I took everything too seriously. I was not fun to be around. If everything wasn't going great, I was just complaining. Is just an awful person to be around. Probably not as bad as I'm making it sound, but I wasn't good. But now I'm just out there having a good time. I can still play golf. I'm still decent, but I don't take it so seriously. So we ought to play golf now.
Yeah, we ought to play golf. I'm always ready.
All right, let's get into sauce number 2. We're staying with Bravado Spice Company. This is Serrano and Basil, moving into the hot category or medium category. Still really good. I think you'll notice a vinegar flavor to it.
All right.
These 3 are really good for breakfast.
Are you talking about an omelet?
Omelet.
Burrito.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you ever do Burrito King? Is Burrito King even open?
Yeah,
still
Burrito King's open. So my 5th year, so when I came back from my 5th year, Coach Self said I could live off campus because I'd been in McCarthy for a while. So I lived right next to Burrito King. And so, that's, it's not too far from the Hawk, the Wheel, whatever it may be. I was 22 at the time, so I was able to drink. And I would walk home from the bars every night, and I'd get 4 breakfast tacos on my way home at Burrito King, open 24/7.
Thinking ahead. Don't I get up and go get it? You're right there.
Oh, yeah, right there. That would be a good
stuff,
one.
Right?
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm going to go in for another one.
Go for it. I think now would be the great time, since there was a little pause while I was eating. When we do cut the show, I want you to do it and just have it real quiet, but amp up his chewing. That'd be really funny. So I've gotten to know you over the last couple of months, and in one of our first conversations, you were talking about in practice, you could tell when some guys were prepared to play maybe at the next level.
Yep.
And that was based on some of their physicality or some of their other physical qualities. So, if you think of that coupled with where you are in your professional life, how important is it to know who you're working with and what they're capable of?
Knowing exactly what people are capable of is something huge, especially, in every industry, you're always going to loop in somebody, whether they're on your team, whether they're in your organization, you're going to loop in someone to help you with another client. So knowing, what a client expects, what they've been working with, are they at a high-performing company, that they watch everything that you do, and looping in the right people who are, prepared, who are okay under stress and, some criticism on that end, and also very, very knowledgeable on that side and are able to articulate that. That's something that's huge. You look to the people who have the most experience, who handle the pressure the best when you're in those tough situations. So figuring that out, and then also, as being a financial advisor, there's a lot of things that go up and down, like the market, for example. You're not going to want to work with people that are going to, yell the sky is falling every time that there's a little dip in the market or whatever it may be. So, you make sure that you kind of stress test some people and get to know their personality off that end. When I was at Kansas, you could tell the way that people prepared for things as well. Physicality was one thing, as I told you the first time we met. It's like, you got hit in the chest by those guys, Ochai Baji and Christian Brown. It's like, it was a different feeling. You felt like your heart went into your spine. But you also could tell those guys were going to be like that in their preparation towards it. When you were going into practice, when you were in summer workouts, when you were in the weight room, there was just a certain kind of preparation and focus that they had that was like, okay, these guys could do this for a full living, take it seriously, and be a journeyman in the NBA. It's very hard to be LeBron or Anthony Edwards or Kevin Durant, whoever it may be. But, there's a lot of guys, like you look at Jarrell Arthur, who played at Kansas.
Yeah.
Many people wouldn't know that he was in the NBA for as long as he was. I think he was like 13, 14 years.
Yeah.
Cole Aldridge, another guy, was in the NBA for 11, 12 years. Not someone who contributed majorly on the court, but they knew how to be a professional and work that way. And there's a lot of things that NBA teams take that and, try to get them to rub off on rookies or people who don't have that. And, that's the main source of why people stay in the league.
Yeah, 100%. I forgot you were a LeBron guy.
I'm a huge LeBron guy.
And then I had a little flashback because we had a conversation.
Yep.
We're going to need to have more conversation. I need to get to the level where I can start sending you my Instagram feed because it knows me and it knows that I don't think LeBron is the best player. I told you before, I have a great deal of respect for him.
Yep.
I think he's one of the greatest. He is not the greatest, in my opinion, and I'm right. But my thread just keeps feeding me more and more LeBron. Some of the stuff is absurd, what they say about LeBron. Like the LeBron haters, there aren't a ton of Jordan haters. Like there are people that say he's not as good as LeBron or someone else. But, man, there are a lot of LeBron haters.
There's a lot of LeBron haters. And, my brother Connor, you've met Connor, and I think you guys share the same philosophy on that. He sends me, 4 or 5 tweets a day comparing Jordan and LeBron, and I don't want to hear it. We're at work the other day, and he's 3 or 4. He's just sitting in his office there sending me just LeBron hate.
I love it.
And I can't do anything. He's my boss.
Yeah, well, he's correct, but at the same time. Something you said just a little bit earlier, and especially in a young professional, I think it's good for other young professionals to hear. You were talking about tapping other people in who have a skill set in a certain area. Mm-hmm. Maybe talk a little bit more about why that's so important and how you think that makes you look, because a lot of young professionals think I've got to do it all, otherwise I don't look like I'm capable. But you're here saying there are other people with other skill sets that I can tap into. Talk to us a little bit about that philosophy and how you think that plays into your overall profession.
There's certain people who are going to be very smart, who can absorb a ton of information and, learn it very quickly without having to have the experience. As a young professional, you're not going to have that experience, and you're probably not one of those, top 5% people in the world that are going to sit there and be able to read a book, photographic memory, whatever you may want to say it, or have a ton of experience in that realm. So I feel like it's a very selfless thing to do, and also something that shows you have a lot of confidence to be able to tell people what you do and what you don't know, but also being a facilitator of the answer. I've always believed that. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you, hopefully you don't know much about my job or about much about my job as I do. So I'm going to sit here and, BS you, kind of get around the point. I'm going to loop in someone who knows exactly what they're doing, who's going to have oversight over me and at least help me get this experience so that, hey, down the road, I can deepen that relationship. They have trust in me, that I'm not just going and blind balling whatever it may be. So, I think it's a thing that shows selflessness, but also shows a ton of confidence in yourself that, hey, I don't need to know all the answers. I'm going to do the best I can in my position, and I'm going to make sure that you trust me as a business person or as one of my clients.
That was critical what you said. It shows confidence, and I couldn't agree more. In a lot of industries, people perceive needing others as a weakness, and that's not true. I mean, we'll probably talk about basketball a lot in this conversation, but you also use the term facilitator. If you don't have a ball handler, that game is not going to go well. If you can't get the ball past half court and get into your offense, you're in trouble. In crunch time, you're in trouble. And who do they look on? They look to the facilitator. So as you're talking about saying, hey, I'm bringing in somebody with subject matter expertise, I'm not going to BS you, people are going to know when it's crunch time, I can come to you. You may not be the guy that makes the shot, but you're going to get everybody in position so that shot is made.
Yeah, and I think about the same way when you look at the network. When you get older and you're in a business position, whether you're in sales or whether you're a high-ranking official in a company, you want someone around you that has a great network, that can sit there and put you in, as you said, put you in the right positions to come meet this other person. I may not work with that person, but I may know them from, if you're trying to sell them insurance, I may know them from a personal background. Am I able to get you in front of that person and have them both trust me, where you guys can, end up growing your businesses as well? That's be something that helps you in the long run. I may not see the fruit from it right now, but I guarantee in 10 to 15 years, I'll end up seeing the fruit from some of the stuff that I connect other people with that has nothing to do with my job, just off my personal relationships.
Yeah, that's huge. And I think a lot of people listening to this who are in our industry and health insurance, they're working with those business owners you're just talking about. And so that's great advice for them listening is, hey, they build networks. They know who to tap in when they need somebody in this level of expertise. So when they have someone come to them who's a facilitator, they understand that. They see themselves in that and say, okay, this person has a good head on their shoulders versus they've seen enough people BS them before. It's not going to be something that they're going to want to spend their time and money with.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, there's that's something that I have, I wouldn't say I'm ahead of my time for my age because, I did take an extra year in college, but there's a lot of things that I get into, the board of Kansas Alumni Network Association that we're both on, there's a couple of things. I do MCs for events, whether it's Catholic Charities or the Divine Wine Fest for St. Lawrence Center in Lawrence. There's a lot of things that just me being able to have that network and have that confidence that I get involved with very early on in my career, which is, I love the pressure from that. I think it shows that I can handle it, but also it's an honor to feel like that people can trust me in those situations.
I'd say ahead of your time is fair. I'm curious where you see your haircut and facial hair at KU. Where was that on the time? Like, was that ahead of your time? Was it?
I think I'll give myself trendsetter on that one. There was a lot. There's a lot more mullets after that, and I will say I took that. I knew I kind of had a feeling I wasn't going to play, and I was like, how am I going to leave my mark on this program? And I was like, hey, I'm 22. I'm doing a victory lap at the University of Kansas playing basketball. What do I have to lose if I grow a mustache that I can't really get all the middle of it filled and have this disgusting mullet with red hair? I mean, red hair is already enough of a standout. I mean, I just didn't take myself too seriously, and then other people started getting on it as well. So hey, I'll consider myself a little bit of a trendsetter on that one.
I think so. I honestly cannot remember a more popular non-rotation player than you. In the decades that I've been watching KU, and I mean that as a compliment, I mean, the whole place just went bananas, especially when they started chanting, like they wanted you in the game. Yeah, I was like, that's a bold, actually, I told my wife, that's a bold haircut.
Yeah.
Before I met you, I was like, that's a bold haircut, but listen, you do you.
Hey, you had to have the confidence to rock it.
That's right.
Confidence is a lot of things, and yeah, I did it. I didn't want to take away from the players on the court or anything, but I felt like I was a good. You got to add a little seasoning, a little plating on some food or something. I feel like that's what I kind of was.
So this is the perfect next sauce, Bravado Spice Company Crimson hot sauce.
All right.
Right. So we're still moving up the ladder. I think none of these are going to scare you. No zip.
All right.
At least I don't think so.
Yeah, you're the competitive eater, though, right?
Well, I used to be.
Used to be, but the skill doesn't go away. I can still hop in a gym and get
a couple buckets.
Yeah, I can get a couple buckets.
I'm trying to remember who was at camp 2 years ago. Ben McLemore.
Oh yeah,
because he had gone overseas to play, and he came in the gym, and the man was still a bucket.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just couldn't miss.
Think about how many shots you take. Like when I was training, I would shoot, upwards of 600, 700 shots a day on my lighter days. So think about that muscle memory when you go down the road. It's like, that'll never go away from you. So yeah, the competitive eating, you got it.
Mm-hmm. Man, these are good.
These are pretty good hot sauces. I enjoy these.
Just remember that.
No, hey. I know I'm not going to like the last two.
But we're building up.
Yeah, we're building up.
We're getting there.
That one I would consider, for the white man's palate, a little spicy.
Got you a little?
I wouldn't say it got me. I like spicy
But
food.
you taste it.
I
You notice it's spicy food.
There was some spice in there. My mom and dad probably would think that was a little spicy. No offense to my parents. Love you guys. We don't do well with sauce. But yeah, when you asked me to do this at first, you asked if I like spice. I wouldn't say that I'm going to take down that 6 sauce and be fine. But, I love spicy food. I'm fine with it.
Listen, doing any of the, actually the first two fine, but anywhere from 3 to 6, a 2 a.m. burrito king, that would be bold.
Yeah.
That would be asking for trouble. So you come from a family that's been in the Kansas City area, big family. I think 3 brothers?
Yep, 3 brothers and a sister.
Okay. So, being part of a big family, getting Kansas City, how important is that family network? What are the things that you guys feel like you do really fundamentally well as a unit?
It starts with my parents. They were very strict on us growing up, but, not in a way that it was bad, but they expected us to look people in the eyes, shake their hands a certain way from a very, very young age. And, the Teahan name is pretty big in Kansas City. Connor's done a great job helping that when he played at Kansas. I did a good job doing it. My parents led the way. My grandparents, were some of the founders of Catholic Charities as well. So, just trying to carry on that family name, but having a lot expected of you at a younger age. There's some things where, hey, my parents taught me how to eat food the right way when I was, 10 years old, where I was cutting steak the exact right way, not bumping elbows with people, covering my mouth when I talk, when I'm chewing, whatever it may be. So there was a lot of manners and stuff taught very, very early on that, kind of set the tone going forward, where you can get kind of more complicated and, more strict on some other things growing up. As a family unit, we're a big Irish Catholic family. We go to church on Sundays. We have family dinners every single Sunday night. When I was at home, when I was younger, when my brothers were younger, didn't really live with my sister too much. She was a little bit older. We had a dinner every single night where we all sat around the table and shared it. No matter what happened, everyone played sports, 2 or 3 sports at the same time. But, 6:30, we all sat down. We talked about our days. We all were polite to each other, and we sat down. We shared one meal together, and that's something that I feel like shaped me as a person. And when I have my own family, there's some non-negotiables, and it's going to mass Sundays, family dinners, and just teaching kids respect first. I don't care if my kids ever touch a basketball or a football or a baseball in their lives, but as long as they're good kids, get good grades, don't lie, and are enriched in their Catholic faith, those are some big things for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that the fact that you were all able to come together and have regular dinners is key, and it's really just establishing an expectation. But also, I think you would probably agree that it's a place that you knew was safe. It was going to continue to happen. I knew that I had something that was always going to be there.
Yeah, and even now that I'm 25 years old, obviously living my own life, one of the things I look forward to each week. I could have great events. I could go to late night tonight and go to the KU football game tomorrow. But what I look forward to most in the week is that Sunday night dinner where I get to see all my nephews and nieces, get to see my brothers and my sister and their significant others and my parents. Go back there and share a meal with them. That's something I look forward to each and every week. And even my girlfriend, when she's always asking now, when is the next Sunday dinner? Which is
That's
they're weekly,
cool.
but that's something that's really fun, and yeah, you feel safe around. You can be yourself for one more night before you start Monday and have to either put on a mask or try to tough it out the rest of the week.
Now I'm wondering, we were at happy hour 2 weeks ago, and the bartender came to the table and asked somebody if they played at KU. Now, did they notice your brother played at KU and not you? Is that what happened?
Yeah, no, they noticed it was Connor.
Okay, and how did that make you feel?
I can't say anything because for a while it was me getting recognized only, and they would literally there would be times me and Connor would be walking through, and there would be a middle-aged man be like, "Chris, can I take a picture?" and then hand the phone to Connor and let him take a picture. So I can't get too, jealous about that. Don't get me wrong, I hear about it. It makes
when
his
that
day.
happened, I thought this was going to continue to live on for a while, and I'm going to do my best to help it continue to live on because the older you get, you just got to hang on to those things. Our head of ops turned 40 today, and congratulations. I said 40's a great year. I just want to be honest with you. 40 feels like you're still 20 because your mind's going, oh, I feel normal. I mean, I thought when I was 20, 40, I was going to move around like the Tin Man. I said 41 and a half is what you got to be scared of because you wake up, it's a weird thing. You wake up, you're like, I'm old.
Yeah.
And your body just automatically winds the clock real fast. Like, ooh, every time you move around, you make noise. That's a big thing.
Yep.
When you get older, the one thing you absolutely know is you have to make noise to make any movement. So you bend over to tie your shoes, there's a noise to it. Yes, everything. So let Connor have that. Let Connor have
Trust
that.
me, no, he gets the old jokes. I mean, me and my little brother Marcus were around my brother Connor a lot. Let's just say he throws something at us, we're like, all right, old man. I mean, it's like clockwork.
And we're all, age comes for us all. So
you got to see it, yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm super excited to go talk to Dennis about his commonality with Bill Self. I mean, that's making me excited. So this is Bravado Spice Company Black Garlic Carolina Reaper. So now this isn't super hot, but you're gonna notice.
All right, Reaper. Yeah, you never want to see Reaper on anything. Well, you can smell it. It just smells a little bit spicier. It smells a little pepper forward.
Notice they're getting darker, getting a little thicker.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, yeah.
You get that one?
Mm-hmm.
So
that one's not terrible, but
starting to get
knowing that this is 4,
yeah,
that's not a good sign.
All right, so we've talked a little bit about your time at KU. We've talked about family. We've talked about being a young professional. Why don't you talk a little bit about mistakes? Mistakes happen at every level, at every juncture, and I think that they can be very powerful. So somebody who, I would agree, a little bit ahead of your time in terms of how you look at other people coming in and being able to help you at your point in your career. So, talk a little bit about making mistakes and how you use them to be better the next time out.
Yeah, so, I'll be vulnerable on this one. When I was a freshman at college, my first semester, I went to Rockhurst College Prep School, so I got through the first semester. I'm pretty sure 4.0, was really good in classes, and I was like, hey, I'll start taking my hard classes second semester to try to get myself ready for business school, and then also, graduate a semester early or 2 semesters early to see if I can get an MBA. Well, that was, a terrible choice. I ended up pretty much almost failing out of the University of Kansas, and it wasn't because the classes were too hard for me. It was because I wasn't putting in the time. I wasn't organized in that area, and I also just was lackadaisical. When you have stuff that's easy for you, you can take shortcuts, and you can kind of, hey, I'll push this off till tomorrow morning. I'll do this from 8 to 8:30 and then head to my class at 9. That wasn't the case. So, I ended up that semester with, I think, 1.8, 1.9. Yeah, it was impressive.
Well done.
It was impressive. And, that was the first time where I was taking those finals, and it was like, you see the tweets or the YouTubes or TikToks, whatever social media you're on, where it'll be like, what do I need to pass this class? And it'll be like 140%. And I'm like, sheesh, I'm in accounting 210 or whatever it may be. And so, that was the first time where it really woke me up, where I called my mom, and, I had tears in my eyes. I called my brother Connor. I called my dad, and was just like, I don't know. I messed up. I messed up. There's that self-pity to start. And there was self-pity for a while where I was like, I don't even know if I should study. I'm already failing, blah, blah, blah. And then finally I was like, you know what? I'm the only one who decides how my life goes. I can't ride the coattails of my brother. I can't ride the coattails of my parents. They aren't going to help me out forever. And what does it say for their parenting if I'm, giving up this early on and, giving away this opportunity that a ton of people would want? I mean, playing basketball at Kansas, when we went to the Final Four that year and everything, like, how could I feel as a person if I had all of this and just let it go and then willingly let it go? So, that was the first time in my life where I took a ton of accountability for myself. I was by myself in a dorm room, 12 hours a day, studying. Didn't help my GPA at all. But, that was the first time where I was like, hey, no one can affect the way my life trajectory goes except for myself. So that's one of the mistakes I've made. There's a billion things that I have done, but what I've learned is the self-pity can last for a little bit. If I mess up at work, I give myself 5 minutes. 5 minutes to sit there and be like, God, this is hard, or whatever it may, whatever complaint, but I can't believe they're asking that. This compliance I have to go through is way too much. But then after that, it's like, all right, yeah, put on your big boy pants. Whatever I want my life to be, whatever I envision it as, whatever my goals are, I'm the one that affects it. So I got to buckle in, get after it. It'll pay off later.
Yeah, I think that's really important what you said about it's okay to give yourself a few minutes.
Yep.
A normal human reaction is being disappointed, being angry, being frustrated, being sad, whatever, mopey, whatever word you want. It's okay. Give yourself a little bit of time to be human. But, okay, then now what can I do? Because I'm not going to solve anything by being mopey, sad, mad, any of those things. Good to feel it, but then move on.
Yeah, no, good to feel it, then move on. The accountability is a great thing too. Being able to look at yourself in the mirror, be truthful with you, with yourself. And I think a lot of people get caught up in false confidence and not being able to talk to people. Being vulnerable and having these mistakes to learn from, that's something that's, it's just huge for me. Getting it off your chest. Coach Self always had another one to say where he was like, hey, I get fired up and he'll rip your ass right there. Freak out on you, probably go a little too far, but he's like, hey, for me, once I say it, it's off my mind. It's water off my back. The stuff that you let stew is the stuff that ends up eating at you, and either completely destroys your relationship with someone that you care about because you just let it stew and stew and stew. You're like, I love this person, but then one night you're just going to be like, I can't look at him anymore. And also it affects, the way you work is way you see life. That's why a lot of people have therapists and go and talk to them and say, hey, I just got to get the stuff that I have on my mind off my chest real quickly.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was talking to a parent this morning. We had a walkathon at my son's school, and we were talking about coaching. And we were talking about the coaches that we remember and how when I started coaching, I was really nervous that the parents would not sign the deed on me being a disciplinarian.
Yep.
I want people to understand that there's a time to have fun and there's a time to do work.
Mm-hmm.
And if you aren't ready to do work, then we're going to stop. We're going to let you do whatever you need to do. And then we come back, I'm going to let you know that you were not doing what we needed to do.
Yep.
But then we'll get back to doing work. And I was really nervous that parents wouldn't subscribe to that. And I was so refreshed that parents really appreciated my balance of, look, we're here to do a job. We're here to learn how to do something. But then we also need to respect one another. We need to listen, and there needs to be accountability. And so as you're talking about it, I think a lot of people have mistaken being firm and having expectations with someone being unreasonable.
Yep.
Right? And that to me is one of the most positive things I know, when somebody will appropriately get after me.
Yep.
Right? And I would bet you, Bill Self, got after some people, right?
Oh, yeah.
You have a job to do. You are representing one of the greatest college basketball programs in America. That is not arguable.
That's not arguable.
It's not.
That's subjective.
I didn't say the best, because that is debatable on a year-to-year basis, but one of the best programs in the country, not debatable.
Mm-hmm.
So you're representing something that's got so much history, and you've got so many people watching you throughout the country, throughout the world, that there's some more expectations than just being good at basketball.
Oh, way more. And, I think that, as an alumni now, my main goal when I was at Kansas, obviously, was to try to play, to win games, but to leave the culture and the university better than I found it. That's something that's harped on us all the time. You don't want the university that everyone before you has worked so hard to, get to this level. As you said, they're in the top 5 of the best college basketball programs of all time. Not a question. I would say, top 3. if depending on how you're looking at North Carolina and Kentucky, honestly, Duke's probably up there. I hate them to death though, so I can't really say too much. But like you had to leave it better than you found it, and it's about the expectations. It's hey, if my job is to be the basketball coach here, my job isn't to coddle you and to make you feel like good and rainbows and flowers. My job is to make sure that we get from point A to point B, and you learn something along the way. That's kind of how I see it. And that's the way that I approach it. I coached 8-year-olds. And I came into it thinking, first practice I came in, full practice sheet. I had them full core. I had a whistle and everything. I got in first practice. Let's just say 5 minutes into the practice, I took the paper and threw it away.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to be said about still being disciplined in those moments. Like you got to teach someone something, and if you're going to go play on a sports team, a lot of people aren't going to go play sports at the next level. You're playing them to learn life lessons and to be a better person. And so, that was the mindset that I had.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Good stuff. This is where it gets real.
I would say after that last one, it made my tongue tingle a little bit. It wasn't too bad, but I stopped thinking about your questions for a second.
Yeah, I can tell.
There'd be a couple of times where I was talking and I was like, I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. That one's starting to thicken up. Here, let me give it a little shake. So one of my early on challenges that I did, it was 2 full servings of ghost pepper concentrate, and I remember the phenomenon of driving home, and I didn't remember leaving the office.
Yeah,
I was like, this is different. All right,
I had some water in the car, but then I remembered that you're not supposed to have cold water, and I had a bunch of ice in it.
I don't know what got put in this. This is cold water. This is some of the best water I've ever had.
Really?
I'm enjoying it. It's almost done. All right. Da bomb, number 5.
Da bomb. Right.
You just breathe. It's hot.
Yeah. The inhale before I took a bite was hot.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. There it is. Yep.
Give you a second to process that. So there was a moment in time where I thought Mr. Simeon was needing a bucket.
Really?
It got hot.
Whew. Yeah.
In his show, it was really funny. We were on question 6, and we had the sauce. And I said, so are you ready for questions? He said, wait a minute. He goes, I already did 6. And I go, I know, but the question where did the question? So you're breathing in heat, aren't you?
Yeah,
nice.
The breath is not helping.
Yeah, well, keep breathing. So we've had a lot of good conversation. I could probably talk about.
Yeah, we're going milk.
See, there it is.
There it is. I had to have something.
And listen, it's hot for me. I'm not sitting over here not saying it's not tingling my.
Oh, that made it so much better. All right. I just need a little bit of liquid. I don't.
You feel better?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm good.
So we talked about mistakes most recently and their power. Maybe talk about some of the successes that you've had and the impact they've had on your confidence. Because being able to overcome an obstacle, being able to overcome a mistake is incredibly important for success, but also knowing when you've done something good, giving yourself a pat on the back. Talk about successes and their impact.
I've had a lot of little success. I think there's a lot of things that are accoladed success. Obviously, winning national championships is a great thing. Going to Final Fours, being all-state in basketball and football when I was in high school. Those things were great. Those are accolades. But I think some of the stuff that, really gave me the most confidence, that helped me, that was successes, were just little things. Like, hey, I wanted to work out this last 2 months. I wanted to work out and I wanted to start running. And I wanted that to be consistent. And, over this last month or so, I've worked out almost every single day and ran almost every single day. I think those are the things that give me the most confidence, knowing that, hey, I can do it. I have the discipline to do it, and I have the discipline to stick to it, and regardless, no matter what the circumstances are. Going to a happy hour and staying a little bit late or whatever it may be, and then waking up the next morning at 6 a.m., getting that workout in. That's a big confidence booster for people. And then, also, the learning side of things. After I said, my mistakes is almost failing out of school, and then, my last 3 years being a 3-time all Big 12 second team academic guy and going on honor roll. And then, writing some papers that were sent out to my classmates. Like those were things to me those were successes that, probably not going to write in my biography or whatever I do later on. Like I'm not going to be like, hey, yeah, I got 100 on this test score the other day. But it's something that confidence-wise, it shows, hey, there's things I can do. I can do anything when I put my mind to it. I just got to have the right mindset going into it and be consistent in that.
For sure. So, I don't know, our marketer extraordinaire does sorts of cool things on post, so that you get a little sweat here, a little sweat
Yeah,
there.
no,
I like
I'm going.
it. Are you good?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm fine.
You ready for 6?
Hey, I'll do it. I mean, you said the step-up's not as bad.
No.
I will say I definitely put too much sauce on that last one. Yeah, I don't doubt it's hot. And, I feel like all the hot sauces I've tried have just not been good flavor-wise. These ones have actually been good. The bomb, flavor-wise, was good.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wouldn't get wings that were made of that. I wouldn't get through the first bite. I'd be wasting money.
Why don't you tell the audience what that's called?
Grinder's Death Nectar.
Uh-huh.
Let's see, Scoville. Okay, winner of the Scoville Awards.
330,000 Scoville.
330. What was that last one? 100 and something?
100 and I don't know if it says it on here.
So we're doubling?
Oh yeah, this is 135,000.
This is 300.
Yeah, be fine. Be okay. Don't worry about it. Here.
Yeah, you do the honors first.
So immediately, what you'll know is this is very thick. It is much darker than any of the other ones. Do yourself a favor, just a dab.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Trust me. I think I messed up on the last one.
But I mean, not to kind of poke at the tough guy. Morgan and I, when we tried this for the first time, no chicken wing, no chip, just off the tip of the finger. Tried it.
I don't know. That may be better because I feel like if you just put the tip of your finger, you can kind of control where it goes. So you can put it on the back of your tongue and just kind of let it go.
You don't want to do that.
I'm not doing that. No.
All right, so we're out of.
I started taking flats. I'm a flats guy.
Oh, okay. Well, shoot. My bad.
No, I'm fine. I don't care. I'll eat either one. I honestly made sure that I saved the drums for the last one so I could just take a bite and then just go around it real quick, bite each part.
Yeah. All right. Question number 6. You made it.
I made it. Is that too much?
No, that's good.
That's good? I don't know why I'm doing this one. All right.
It's hot. But it's not as hot as you think it was because you went from 135 to 330.
This one's a slow burner. The bomb. Oh, wait. My bad. I was going to ask you had a bleep button right when I walked in. The bomb, as soon as it touched my tongue,
Hot.
I couldn't even get to chewing before I was like, oh, God. This one I at least chewed and was like, okay, maybe I killed my taste buds. Nope.
Nope, it's there.
It's there. I'm surprised I made it this far.
This is going to be so good because she's going to be able to beep it. You went into full sentence and then realized, hard back.
Well, I had I kind of was sitting here on my car ride over here because I was doing work, making calls on the way over. And I was like, right before I pulled in the parking lot, I was like, okay, I should ask some questions about this. And the only question I could think of I should ask was, one, am I going to be throwing up or whatever on the toilet before my happy hour later tonight?
No.
Or do you guys have a bleep button? Because I knew, honestly, I could have used worse words there. So I'm fine.
One thing I will tell you that you to avoid at almost all costs is throwing up.
Yeah.
Because your stomach is processing all this heat, and so all that heat is there, and if it's coming back up, it's really, really
Really
bad.
worse, yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. That's just, if you can avoid it. Sometimes you can't. So, this is, we kind of name this because I talk about Morgan creating this. So I used to ask this one question, and actually, funny enough, because it was Sean Barber who was able to answer the question, the only people that really can answer this question are usually former athletes. Because it's what's one silly ritual you had that no one knows, and everybody couldn't answer the question. So she came up with this cup. This cup has a bunch of questions. And then I said, well, what if somebody pulls this and I don't like the question? So I decided I'm just going to go through it and find a question that I want to ask. And then I thought, if I continue to talk and look through these things, we're going to have plenty of roll of somebody just dying off the sick sauce.
Yeah.
So it's worked out very well. We got to come up with a name for it. Let's see. That's always a good one. That might be a good one for you. You doing all right?
I'm good. I'm good.
That's
I'm going to go get a milkshake on my way home.
that's not a bad idea. Another one that's actually pretty good is Starbucks Vanilla Bean Latte.
Those are really good, too. I could use some coffee.
That's
I may
no coffee.
Well, I'm saying I could use some. That has caffeine in it, though, right?
The Vanilla Bean Latte, no.
Oh, it doesn't know. I was going to say, maybe I don't need the caffeine because I don't want to be up any later. I may just want to go to bed after this.
You won't want to do that either. Another thing is if you do go to bed early tonight, prop yourself up. Acid reflux will be horrible with 3:35. All right, I got enough now. We've seen enough. So I guess this is question 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
So this one is fun. What Guinness Book of World Records record would you choose to break?
Ooh. Would I choose to break?
Yeah, if there's one that you could break, what would you want to break?
I feel like it would have to be something that I could be famous for, you know?
Eating hot wings.
No, definitely not. I'm good on this. Is probably the last time I do something like this.
Can I have mild, please? Sir?
Yeah, mild. Maybe just lemon pepper.
There you go.
I would say probably pull-up record.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can barely do pull-ups. So
Okay, so this is like a challenge thing.
a challenge thing. I don't have to try this after this, right?
If you need it, here's a second.
Yeah, I may have to go second. I would definitely say probably the pull-up challenge because I think David Goggins has it right now.
Yeah?
And I would say carry the boats the whole time.
Okay, so pull-up would be your thing. This one came up last time, and it's interesting. What's the weirdest conspiracy theory you've ever believed? Mind you, if we don't like the answer, we'll cut it, because this one
Yeah.
can get someone in trouble.
God, that's a tough one, especially with my brain half working.
Right, that's the whole point.
God, yeah, I don't know if there's an appropriate one I can think of.
We're not live, so we can cut it. Is the Earth flat?
The Earth's not flat.
Okay.
The Earth's not flat for sure. I'm trying to think of one.
Have we gone to the moon?
I don't think we have.
Okay.
I don't think we have because if we would have, think about 1996, we would have been back multiple times. I mean, come on now. Did they even have automatic cars in 1996?
Oh, man. That is glorious.
I don't think we. Yeah, and
I'm going to send just that snippet to Connor. In 1996,
or 96 and 69.
Okay.
I'm telling you, well, 1996, he was like 30 years old.
But here's my philosophy, or my thought process on this. Do you think all the tens of thousands of people that were associated with the lunar landings could hold that lie for this long? Don't you think it would have come out?
I think that I think you're only gonna tell the top-ranking officials that were involved that, and you're gonna have them sign NDAs. But how can we broadcast from the moon back to American TVs as well when they didn't even have cell phones?
All good points.
Yeah.
What's one thing that people are generally surprised to find out about you?
There's two things. I've been an uncle since I've been 4 years old.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. So actually, my last year at Kansas, I was closer. The people who were freshmen were closer in age to my oldest nephew than they were to me.
Wow.
And currently, my girlfriend right now is closer in age to my oldest nephew than she is to me as well, by a little bit. That one's a little bit closer than the other ones. But when they were freshmen, they were 18, and my nephew was 17.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. And then the other one is I'm a very good bowler.
Yeah.
Very good bowler. Yeah.
Okay.
I was in a bowling league, and we won that league, and I was the ringer. 185 average, I think. So I can go, every other game I go 200.
Have you ever rolled a perfect game?
No. The
Close?
highest I've gotten is 269.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Were you better with a mustache or without?
Probably with the mustache.
Okay.
I had more time to play.
I could see that.
Yeah, I had more time to play, and then if you ever go look at the people, they put a picture of you up on a bowling alley if you have a 300. If you look at those people, most of them have old glasses and some kind of weird mustache.
Makes sense.
So I feel like that's part of the progression.
Chris, this has been an awesome conversation.
Yep.
I appreciate it. Thank you. You made it through 6.
Yep.
That has to make you feel super accomplished. Maybe it wasn't the finals time or learning how to overcome, but you did it. You did it gracefully, but it was a great having you.
Hey, appreciate you having
Thank
me
you very
on.
much.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I'm gonna go home and recover.
Yes. David Voorhees, Running Hot. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.